Hi, welcome back to DIY by Bill. This is Bill. Today we'll be talking about making a jig so as to cut a perfectly straight line while ripping or cutting wood with a circular saw. Okay, so a brief explanation on how this jig works. The first thing to know is that the jig itself is made for a particular circular saw. So if you have more than one type of circular saw, you'll not be able to use the jig on both, most likely. So here's how it works. This is a thin piece of MDF that I had for a while. However, I'm going to make 3 today with some 3/8 half-inch plywood. But there's two parts and 3 sections. There's this slide in the middle where you put the shoe up against the side of this piece of wood right here. And what it does is it rides up perfectly on the wood, so you don't have to measure the distance between the actual saw blade and either side of the shoe itself. So it makes it a lot easier. You just got to mark each side of the wood, and then you clamp the jig onto those marks, place your saw right on it, and cut. There's no measuring the distance between the blade and the cut and having the chance to be off. So a single piece of wood wouldn't work for this. It has to be done this way. So I'll give you a brief explanation on an actual piece of wood. Okay, so let's assume I wanted a straight cut. I knew that I was going to come off this edge and I was going to make a 90, and that this is already square. So I wanted to come off this edge, say 2 inches. Simply mark the 2 inches on both sides. Place whichever side of the saw that you want to use against this mark. In this case, I like the big side, so I'm going to use the big side. Then I would clamp it into place right on the mark, because I know that the saw blade is going to cut right on that mark. So clamp it into place on the other side where the saw won't interfere with it. Go to the other side and clamp it as well. Okay, so for the first part, I just want to make this piece that the edge of the shoe is going to go against approximately, say, 3 inches. It doesn't really matter exactly, as long as it's a nice straight cut. The saw blade is already cut. Notice that. I'm going to adjust the saw blade to the right height, lock it in place. Lock my fence in place, and just I'm going to push the wood through. Now I'm just going to glue these 2 pieces together, clamp them, and glue them in place. This part doesn't matter exactly where it lies. I'm going to make it neat as I can. However, the other side where the cut is going to take place is where it matters most. Okay, so it's already glued, and it's pretty neat. This is a nice straight edge on this side here, and I'm going to clamp them all together now. So now I'm going to pre-drill some holes and set some screws that are long enough to go through both pieces of wood, but not long enough to penetrate the bottom of the jig. I'll do this throughout the whole, up and down the whole board, and then I'll do the final cut and the jig is complete. We'll make the cut and this jig will be set for that particular circular saw until it gets dented or ruined, or until the circular saw itself dies. Okay, I'm glad that happened, I guess, so I can teach you something. This edge right here, I made it 3 inches because I figured that would be enough. But if you have a clamp that sticks out far like this, it'll hit the motor if it's not far back enough like it was. Here, let's move it up on purpose. So there's a reason that you might want to make this strip of wood right here 4 inches, just give you an extra inch. If it was 4 inches wider, maybe it'd be back a little further the first time when I made the cut. Okay, and like always, I hope I helped someone save some money by doing something on their own instead of hiring someone. This jig could be used to help level the bottom of a door if the rug's rubbing on it, or a long piece or a short piece of your plywood if you need to square it, which is what I'm using it for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and save some money. Do it yourself.